Hi everyone, I'm Ryoko, a resident of the Animator Dormitory. In these videos, I show you what life is like for a new animator like me, as well as the new Animator Dormitory where I live. In today's video, I'll talk about a typical day in my life as an animator. We've been lucky enough to answer some of your questions from the comment section up to this point, but one comment we haven't been able to address due to time constraints is your requests to learn more about animators' daily lives. That's why I'd like to take this opportunity and tell you about what an average workday looks like for me, and the workflow and atmosphere from my time at an anime studio. Not all animators work the same way I do, especially since I'm currently freelancing, but I hope I can paint a decent picture of the process. In my case, I usually get out of bed around 8 a.m., finish breakfast within 30 minutes, then get straight to work on anything I have that day. Since I'm freelancing right now, I usually work at the dorm's kitchen table. I lay out my tablet, references, invoices, a stopwatch to check the length of the character's voice lines, and everything else I use for work on the table. Depending on the day, sometimes I go to the studio that's creating the anime I'm working on. On one hand, working in the dorm lets me set my own pace, and I don't need to spend time and effort commuting. On the other hand, I can focus better in the studio since other people are working around me. They both have their advantages, so I alternate between workplaces to suit the job I'm doing that day. When working from home, I fit in breaks to eat and recharge around lunch and dinner, and I typically work until about 10 or 11 p.m. Actually, besides eating and bathing, I spend most of my waking hours working. There's a lot of moving pieces to this job, so it's common for me to work as I listen to music, have phone conversations with my workmates, and continue my work in the living room with the TV on in the background. Almost all of my work days look like this. I'll wake up around 8 a.m. the next day too, so I retire for the night around midnight or 1 a.m. In the last video, I talked about how I practice drawing, but with the way things are, I don't really have time to practice. On days that I finish early and have a little more time, I usually look for reference material for my next job, or watch some of the studio's anime to get acquainted with their work. Unfortunately, I don't have set off days because I'm a freelancer. I usually work the same schedule I just talked about, even on weekends. Instead of weekends and planned holidays, when a project calms down, I can take off a bunch of days in a row while I wait for my work to be checked over. During this downtime, I'll go out, meet up with people, and make time to practice drawing. Before I was a freelancer, I would go to the studio at around 9 or 10 a.m. and then go home around 9 or 10 p.m. Because of the commute, I had to wrap up earlier than I would at home, but during busy periods, I would end up taking work home with me. It's common for anime studios to have flex time rather than set working hours. New employees generally have to come to the studio at a certain time, but if you went to bed late one day, it's possible that you could come in around noon the next. The anime industry is known for being exploitative, but I really like being able to work on my own schedule. Though there's also plenty of days where you have too much work and can't go home. It depends on the place, but at most studios, key and in-between animators will work on the same floor. Compositors, background artists, and others will usually work on another floor. At some studios, key animators or even employees and freelancers will work in different rooms. Bigger studios might put each section on different floors, and at small studios, everyone works closely together. Key animators generally work in animation rooms on the same floor. Animation rooms have reference materials for drawing and animating, and are decorated with merch like posters and figures from the studio's previous creations. Sometimes, you can hear lively chatter coming from the production assistant space. The animation desks are always quiet though. Everyone is focused on their work. There are also reception areas, meeting rooms, and kitchenettes, just like a normal office building. Big studios will also have lounges, and sometimes people will spend the night on the couches. There's an anime about anime production called Shirobako. I think its portrayal of an anime studio is pretty on the nose. If you want to know more about what it's like to work at one, give it a watch. That's all for today. Hopefully, now you have a better understanding of animators' daily lives. It's mostly work, which might be surprising to you, or maybe it's exactly what you expected. I hope this answered some of your questions about the daily lives of animators. Thank you so much for watching. The Animator Dormitory runs almost entirely on donations. For more information about dormitory crowdfunding, there's a link in the description below. Have a look! Also, just watching our videos supports our cause, so please consider watching other videos too.